Hi, this is Amber, and you're listening to the Sisters Through Faith podcast. I've got my friend Jennifer, and I've got my friend Meleah on here. Okay, so I asked Meleah to come on here with us. Say hi, Meleah.
Hey.
And I've got Jennifer again.
Hello.
Okay, so this week we're talking about a wife and a mother with social media. And I feel like this is an important topic, but it's also a touchy one. Maybe we don't like to be told how much we should be on our phones or social media and stuff. So maybe this will help all of us, including me. So I wanted to first start off by running by some statistics. It says on average, members of the Generation Z spend approximately 7 hours and 18 minutes per day on screens. So this includes phones, tablets, computers. Y'all, that's like a job. I mean, like
Yeah.
people go and work 8 hours a day. This is 7 hours worth
Yeah.
of being on your phone.
Yeah. That's usually how long you sleep too. 7 hours.
Yeah,
Well,
whoa.
not me. I sleep longer than that, but most people.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so another one says the average American spends 4 hours and 37 minutes looking at their phone every day. That quickly adds up to over about 1 day every week and 6 days every month and 70 days every year staring at your phone.
That is like mind-boggling.
I know it's really sad.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned probably like a year ago, it may have been longer than a year ago, that iPhones, and I don't know if other phones have it, have the screen time thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And so I put like a timer on my Facebook and I cannot go over 40 minutes a day. It sends me like that little thing that says like it says
You
ignore
you've
or
reached your
Yeah, you
limit.
can ignore or you can like mute it or
add. Yeah, you can
yeah.
like add so much more time or ignore it for the day or whatever. And I think that has like really helped me because um like you get on Facebook and you're like, oh, look at everybody's pictures, and then you're like watching a video, and then you're like, I'm watching somebody clean a rug and somebody cook something, and then like you do not realize how long like you're sitting there on your phone. And like that's sad. I shared this thing on Facebook for like a week ago, and it was like the parents laying in a bed and the kids in the middle holding like it's got a book down, and then the parents are like looking the opposite ways
On
from
their
the
phones.
kid on their phone.
Mhm.
And you think how many times like we miss those opportunities with our kids or our spouses. Oh, that makes me sad. Makes me so sad. So one thing that would help would be like a timer on your phone so you know, and watching that screen time, so you can see how much time you're actually staring at your phone. It
So
will harm your family, whether you see it or not. Um, what do y'all think?
I definitely think that it harms your family. There is another thing that also, so when you're looking at Instagram or Facebook and just you get into that mindlessly scrolling thing, the colors, like it's
Mhm.
set to go like in like a pattern so that the colors keep you attracted to
Yeah.
it. If I don't know with other phones, but if you have an iPhone, you can go into your settings and you can turn your phone to have a grayscale. So everything is black and white gray
Hmm.
so it's not as appealing. And it really does help as far as keeping you off your phone.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
not only that, but Facebook has an algorithm, so
Yes.
it's only going to show you what you want to see. So here lately, I don't know, like you were talking about mindlessly scrolling. Mine's been showing me like people drawing. For some reason, that just really interests me. Like seeing
I
people
got the
take.
rugs. People cleaning these dirty rugs. I can sit there and I think, why would you not just buy another rug?
You say mine here
Yes.
lately has been farm animals, and I'm kind of interested in getting some.
they it's because they saw those cows in your yard.
Yes, yes. We had cows in our yard last Wednesday, and
Oh no.
somebody just called us today about those cows. Just say that a full week later.
But so it's not going to just show you things that you don't want to see. That's their whole purpose, is to they market it to where you will spend time on it. You know, whatever ads that you want to see. I get a lot of Alabama football stuff because I'm
Do
interested
y'all want to
in
know what I
sports.
get? Guess what I get right now? How to edit your podcast.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is
Yes,
good.
because
Yeah.
you've been.
So
It's whatever you put in
creepy.
Google, whatever you search for.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't like it. It's weird.
It's so creepy, like how it knows like the things that are going on
Oh
that
yeah.
interest you and stuff like that.
No, I guess because like I've been posting on Facebook about the podcast, Facebook's like, let me sell something to you. Okay, I'm gonna read that Ephesians. Ephesians, once again, these are not edited, so what y'all say, it just is what it is. Ephesians 5:15 through 17 talks about, says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. So last week, Jennifer, you talked about like being intentional with our kids. I mean, you have to be intentional as an adult. Sometimes we're like, okay, take care of them kids, but we don't monitor what we're doing ourselves. And when I thought about social media and just phones in general, I thought about being intentional with it. Like I have to put a timer on my phone. I pay every Sunday, I get this update that says you've spent this much on your phone, this week. This is your average or whatever. I mean, it'll really open your eyes to how much you're staring at a phone.
Yeah, I think it's an addiction. I mean,
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
it definitely
it
is.
can very much be an addiction. I mean, it's like the dopamine levels that you get from looking at it. Like you just want more and more and more, and
I think
that's what
that's
keeps you going back to it.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why I mean like working with little kids, I can sometimes tell who's addicted to tablets and
Mm-hmm.
computers and stuff because it's sad, but it is a kid, but it also applies to adult. They don't know how to do real people stuff. They don't know how to do interactions and expressing my emotions and stuff like that because they're so stimulated by a TV or a tablet. We lose this right here. And I mean, I think adults do that. It's not just kids. We have these fake worlds on social media and we forget how to. I saw something funny because I'm all about funny stuff on Facebook. It said something about I'm just social on social media. Don't talk to me in real life. It made me laugh, but that's so sad
Mm-hmm.
because we create these little lives. I mean, like, it's one thing, like, when I started this and I started thinking about it, like, I told y'all and I told everybody, like, this is not edited. Like, this is just us. This is not, we're not trying to create some type of perfect little, whatever. This is real people.
Yeah, so if you hear my kids crying in a minute because they're having to go to bed, it's just because it's
No, I know. We're on a time limit here. Psalms 90 and verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may apply our heart to wisdom. Um, the little thing I wanted to say about that was this verse talks about be aware of the brevity of life and use our time wisely. I think back to when, like, I guess I'd start with Darlie. When Darlie was really little, obviously first time mom had no idea what was going on. I started thinking about like, did I do this with her? Did I do that? And I mean, she's almost 7. Like, can you think about just you as an adult? What was I doing 5 years ago? What was I doing 10 years ago? Am I any better as a person? How am I spending my time?
Yeah, it reminds me of that quote: "How you spend your days is how you'll spend your life."
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like if you look and compartmentalize what hours, like what was I doing each hour of the day, generally speaking, throughout each day, that's what your life's going to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. James 4 and verse 14 says, why do you not even know what will happen tomorrow? What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then it vanishes. And I think that's something that it's hard for, I mean, everybody, Christians. I mean, it's hard to think of us being so temporary. Like we are just, everything around us is so temporary and it's hard for us to think about eternal. Like, and it's so hard to, when you're thinking about being a wife or a mother and numbering your days or trying to, how am I spending my days? That's like, that's deep. That's real deep. That's
Mm-hmm.
hard to
Mm-hmm.
even fathom, I guess, for me.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead, Jen.
I was going to say, I think I saw something recently that, Facebook showed me that said, you know your kid longer as an adult than you do them as a
Oh,
child.
that's
And
so
that really hit me. So I was like, whoa,
sad.
that's true. So these, 18 or so years, are really going to go by so short. That quote, the years are long.
The
Oh,
days are long, but the years are so
that's
short.
it. That's it.
Oh, it's so
So,
depressing. So, but I mean, like when you apply that to how much you're spending on social media, you think about your life, you think about how am I spending my time, and I'm just sitting here scrolling aimlessly. And I think, like you said, like we are so addicted, we don't even realize it. I
Yeah,
mean, like,
right. Our
but
idols, this is our idol
mhm.
today,
oh
in
yeah.
my opinion. That's like
Yep.
one of our biggest idols.
And I will say, I mean, social media can be good. It can be, it's just like everything, it can be used for good, but you just have to make sure that you're not letting it dominate your everything. Social media has a good outlet and we can use it and we have to be careful how we use it, but it doesn't need to become our everything. Like, I don't need to base, like, I feel like I have tried to catch myself. I'm not taking pictures for Facebook. I'm taking pictures for memories.
Yeah.
I don't have to post every single thing that I do, or my life isn't, great or whatever, just because I have this many pictures on Facebook.
Yep.
And I mean, I think we all get caught in that trap, and we don't even mean to. Like, we're just, we're proud of what we're doing. We're excited what we're doing, and we fall into this trap of constantly having to update everybody on, what
Yeah.
we're doing. I
And I
mean, I'm
think
guilty, and I don't even mean to be.
Yeah, I think it's very important to also note that when people are sharing those things on Facebook or on Instagram or any other social media, the things that they're sharing are the highlight reels. That's
Yeah.
the highlight reels. They're
Yeah.
not going to post the dirty house that hasn't, the laundry's piled up on the couch and hasn't been folded in weeks
Or,
or
oh, I accidentally snapped at my
Mhm.
kids too much, or my husband's driving
yes.
us. We don't say that part.
Yeah.
I'm driving my husband nuts.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I've got these. Do y'all have these things pulled up?
I do.
That paper. Okay. Meleah, will you read like the first two or three? So we're going to talk about, there is 8 things and it's downfalls of a Christian with social media. Meleah's going to read a couple of them for us.
All right. The downfalls of a Christian and social media: showing off your body or personal belongings.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
Yes.
Wah, wah.
And it gets, even us as Christians share things that we should not share, um, whether it be vacations, weddings, childbirth. Like we share the pictures that probably should have just stayed private to our families and stuff like that.
Well, even we ain't even getting on modesty because once again, that's an entire
Yeah.
nother podcast. But I mean, it is very sad to me, people who claim to be Christians, what they post. I mean, of themselves, of their kids. I'm talking, I mean, we're in our underwear at the beach and we're taking pictures and posting it. Or
Mhm.
you also have to think about, yes, I shouldn't be posting that stuff, but you also need to think about who's looking at it. And if you have men on your social media and you're posting bikini pictures, who's seeing it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I also want to say that not just those who are posting those, but those of us who are Christians who are clicking that like button.
That
Like,
that's where I was going.
It's an approval thing.
Yes.
I'm approving. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's
So,
hard because I mean, I don't have an issue with walking around in a bikini, but to some people, that is hard to be different, to be modest. That's hard. Okay, we're not getting on a soapbox.
yeah. All right. So number
Personal
two,
belongings. I think that's a big one. Like, I will, I can't help but giggle. So y'all please don't do this. When people post pictures, my husband bought me a new car. Is it paid for? Because man, come buy me one. Like, I need one. Seriously. And that's another thing. Just we need to have humility and not be, I guess, rubbing stuff in, and that falls into number 2.
mhm. Number two, focusing too much on self.
Yeah, that just, I mean, even gotta say something.
Yeah.
It says it for itself.
Number 3, focusing too much on the number of followers you have.
And I think that's real bad with younger people. It's not necessarily, well, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think it is with younger people though, because they're growing up and they're trying to be cool and try to be popular and they want to know a lot of people and man, it don't matter. Like you would rather have quality over quantity any day.
Well,
Yes.
and you really don't want, especially if you're one of the people that do post things, which I do post a lot of family pictures. And it's because I put them in albums so that I can save them for later. Because y'all know my phone is ancient and I have to get them off my phone to be able to take another picture. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But now where was I going with that?
You're like, I just had to get that out there for everybody.
You were talking about, because I think, Jen, where you were trying to go with that is you don't care that you don't want that many people to see them, because we're talking about the number of followers and stuff.
Thank you. I knew you were like right there with me. Yes, that is exactly what I was going to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want a person that I barely know seeing these pictures. And so I'm not going to add people that I, just like acquaintances or something.
Yes. And I want to backtrack just a little bit where we were talking about the things like social media can be used for bad or for good. One of the good things that it's used for now is like live streaming worships and stuff like that. But it's also like for our family personally, it is so good to be able to notify the masses when there is healthcare issues going on with Charlie. Like, because that's a good way to update everybody. Because in the moment, like if we're at the hospital, I'm not worried about updating everybody because I just want my sole focus to be able to be on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that it definitely can be a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, well, and it's how you use it. Like, I mean,
yeah.
For instance, like I take my albums and I go back through and I make them to where only I can see them after a while. Like they're just for me. I didn't put them out there for everybody to see. Yeah. I put them out there so that I can access them when all my phones are ancient.
So, well, man, and like another thing, like Sisters Through Faith started through Facebook. So there can be good channels, you can use it for good.
That's right. And I know all of us, we do little things like that. Like I have the Barefoot and Blessed one. Yeah. Like I love nature and I love seeing what other people have said about it and pulling it to my site, But I think there's a lot of ways that we encourage each other with it, and that's one reason that I still have it. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be, we'd be talking about like unplug it, but there are certain things that keep us connected to it.
If we were completely unplugging, we would not be doing this podcast.
That is exactly right. True. We have to have screens. We live in this century.
Unplug, but don't unplug from us, okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's say number 4.
Number 4? You may do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 4, comparing your life to others. And also, I wanted to read. So we're currently doing the Digging Deep Conversations with God for this year. And the questions for last week kind of revolved around that one. 1 Kings chapter 21 says, "And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it, and that I should give inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into the house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid down on his bed and turned his face away and would eat no bread. And I mean, basically, he's not content and he's pouting because he has seen something that he feels like is better than what he has. And so I feel like that can have a tendency to happen on social media.
There's this, y'all know I talk about Megan Taylor all the time, and I share her and her husband's stuff because I think it's great. They're like great making media stuff. She did a podcast a few years ago, and she asked, I don't want to say whose name it is because I'll forget, but one of her podcasts was In God's Waiting Room, and it was really about like, you're not supposed to have what everybody else is having right now. Like you may be in a waiting period and you're not getting that, whatever, that house or that car or that, having another child or a grandchild or, whatever. Sometimes we want stuff so bad and it's waiting room time for us. It's not, and it's like it goes along with that. It's just not your time for it right now. And social media is real, real bad because we see stuff and we instantly think, well, that's what my life should be like.
Yeah, and we as women, I feel like do that more so than anybody else. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I just don't. I think it's more of a temptation for us than it is for men, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
too emotional.
And
Okay.
I feel like it's very easy to see, like, say, okay, Jen's doing this activity over here with her kids, and I'm like, oh well, why didn't I think of that? Like, I'm not as
Yeah.
good of a mom because I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
this going on or things like that. So
Right. And people in the past didn't have that. Like
yeah,
we didn't know what our friends were doing at that time, when we were little, and our parents didn't know what the other parents were doing, and unless they talked about it at a PTO meeting or something.
Yeah.
yes,
Like that's just, it's so different now. And I've heard people say that about, like teenagers, like, them seeing so and so, they don't even have to get invited to the party. They can see that the party happened on Facebook later after it's over.
Yeah.
And that was never a problem back in the day.
yeah. So they didn't have the, well, why didn't I get invited? Am I not like
We do that as adults too.
yes,
Oh yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
definitely.
Okay. Do number 5.
Me or Jen?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Spending too much time on social media.
So that sort of goes back to like me putting a timer on my phone. So, and then having that, excuse me, that screen time report, it'll really like open your eyeballs too.
Mhm.
I'll just be honest. That little timer does nothing for me. I have that little timer, and
It
I
does
think
me. It makes me feel guilty.
see, I
It
guess I
makes me
better,
feel
maybe I
guilty
should
too.
extend my timer. I've only got it on 20 minutes right now, and
Okay.
I'm just waiting on it. I'm like, when it
Okay,
comes
but
up,
see,
I'm ignoring,
I have mine on
40
30 minutes.
40 minutes for me is good because that allows me to, okay, y'all, I wake up at like 4:50 and 5 a.m. and that gives me a little while to be by myself and try to wake up. And then that also gives me time, like I feel like to give me time throughout the day and to check it. But it's not like I'm like honing in on it. So
Mhm.
everybody go get a timer on your phone and don't
I,
be like
I
Jen.
what works for me is taking the notifications off my phone, like
Oh yeah.
where it
Yeah, I
doesn't
don't get
ding
notified
and
of
come to me.
anything.
Mhm.
That used to be really bad. Like I'd check it every time it dings,
It's
but now
hard
I've got,
not to.
it is, but
It
now I've
is.
got that off. So now I've got a purpose. When I get on there, I've got a purpose. I'm going to look at my notifications that I don't know that they exist. They're on there now because I'm looking at them. But I haven't been notified of them, but I go on there, and that's my purpose, is to get on there, look at them. And then when I'm done with them, I need to get off.
And I've even done it to where like I've taken my notifications off and I log out of the app so that if I just like casually click on it, I'm like, you don't need on that right now. And I get off of it. But see, if I have it already opened on there and I like click the app and I start seeing everything, I'm too tempted to be like, la, 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 la.
See, that wouldn't work for me either because I don't remember any of my passwords.
You can also just delete the app or like put it to where it's not
If you're
on
that
like that.
addicted, if you need to take a cleansing.
Yeah.
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 Okay, let's see.
Number
Number
6,
6.
relying too much on social media to connect with people.
So quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something. It was talking about, it was something on Facebook. It said something about, I asked my granddad why he goes inside to the bank. That's what it was. And because he can just go through the drive-through, he can just go to the little ATM thing and take care of it. And he said, no, I want to go in there and I want to talk to somebody. Like, I want to have an actual conversation with somebody. And I have tried so hard to like when I go in a grocery store or just anywhere to actually like look at people and talk to them, like so that they feel like you feel appreciated or like someone's actually, investing in your conversation when they're instead of just like,
Yeah. But to be able to do that, you're going to have to not use the self checkout. Like our society is going to a no face, no conversation society.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And so, you have to be, like you said, intentional about going to the ones that's not the self checkout. You go talk to a person and let them scan your items.
Or like just like your waiter, you go eat.
It's why I like to shop at Aldi. There are no self checkouts.
There you go.
too.
There you
I
go.
love Aldis.
I
Okay.
love all my Aldi ladies that I get to go in and see once a week. Like,
Oh, I
See,
love.
they know what's up. They're keeping it the
Except they
right way.
start throwing your
yes.
groceries, and then I get mad.
And I haven't really had any issues with that.
They're trying to go so quick that they throw your groceries. Okay, do number 7.
Becoming obsessed with checking it, an
Dun, dun,
idol.
dun. That's what
This
sort
is
of
exactly what Jen just said.
yeah.
Mhm. Well, I'll add something else to that. So, a way that I've helped myself with that too is I used to have all the forms. Well, not all, but a lot of the forms of social media. I had Instagram, I had Snapchat, I had all the things, Twitter, when I was in college. And now I've realized, you know what? They're all basically the same thing. Why have I got all these? I deleted everything except Facebook. That way
Stress
I only
yourself
have
out.
one
Yeah.
thing to check.
Yeah.
When I check it, that's it.
Yeah.
I can say I have Facebook and I have Instagram just because some of the spina bifida things are specifically on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
used to have it.
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't check it, but like maybe once a month.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Do number 8. Last one.
conforming to the world around you.
So that like sums up all those other like points. You're focusing too much on self. You're focusing on these followers that don't matter. You're spending too much time on it. So like, where's your real focus supposed to be?
Okay.
Mhm.
I have all these little quotes, and one of them says, "It's okay if one of your dreams in life is to be a good wife and a good mother. You should be taking care of those first before you're worrying about social media or, what people think of you or whatever. You got to take care of them first. If
Yeah,
it's,
you don't have to
whoop, go
you
ahead.
don't have to be a social media influencer to be a good wife and
Oh
mother.
yeah. Oh yeah. The ones in your house mean a whole lot more than
Yes.
random people you probably don't
Your
say.
greatest work for the kingdom are going to be the people in your home.
Yeah, it's going to be who's sitting in your home. If it's pulling you away from God, it's not from God. So I repeat that kind of stuff to myself all the time. Like when I'm trying to like put stuff on the Sisters for Faith or anything like that, I'm like, okay, this is not, like don't let it become something bad, even though you're trying to do good because it can creep into that. This quote sort of goes along with it. Creating a beautiful home, a strong marriage, and raising decent human beings is an art form, not something you do in your spare time. So don't make social media your like focus. Like don't make it like I've got to look good on social media. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. That's so, so, so silly. Jen, can you read that 5 tips for self-care?
Sure.
Can you see it?
Barely. No, I've
I
got
can
it.
do it if you.
Number 1 is know your boundaries. Number 2 is block negative people. That is something that I've done. I mean, like if it's bringing you down, like if it's even if it's just somebody that's not negative, if it's somebody that you compare yourself to, sometimes blocking them helps.
Oh yeah.
Not blocking them, but there's a way you can go on and
Yeah, I think that you can go.
Unfollow.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
they won't.
unfollow where you're still friends and it still looks like you're friends.
Yes,
And
but you don't see their stuff in your feed unless you
Yeah.
specifically go to their page,
Yeah.
and that helps.
I've had to do that even with like some family members who may not post like clean things that
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
you don't want curse words all the time in your face. Like,
Exactly.
and so like that one's a big one for our family. So
Yeah.
Yep. Number 3, structured time to unplug.
So
So
there needs to be a time where you're not just obsessed with staring at your phone.
yeah, and I think I know people go on like social media fasts or like
I've done it before.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. And it would probably show you how much you are addicted to it if you do it.
yeah.
Number 4, delete the apps off your phone. Simple as that. We already talked about that. And number 5, keep your phone out of sight. I think I like number 5 the best. Keep your phone out of sight, because when it's right there, like if I'm doing homework or schoolwork with the kids and it's sitting there, and it could be, Meleah or Amber that texts me.
It's so
And I'm like, oh, what are we doing tonight? Oh, we're doing a podcast.
La, la, la.
And then I'm off track, like, but if it's in another room, we have not ever in the, our family in the past has not ever had 24/7 access to each other like we do now. Like we feel like if somebody don't text us back, right when it happens, like, oh, something must be wrong with them. They've always got
Or
the
they're
phone
mad
in
at
hand.
me.
Right. Yeah. Like you start jumping to conclusions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting it in another room is the best thing that works.
I was going to say, I've got the key to keep your phone out of sight down pat since having Thomas because I keep losing everything.
Yeah, you've lost your phone a bunch.
Lost my mind. I don't know where anything is at this point. Like even Sunday, I told Terrence, I was like, we got in the car to go from church because he was preaching at Northport. And I was like, I left my phone at church, but you know what? It's okay. I don't need it. It had been in the car the whole time. I didn't know where it was. He found
That's
it.
a
He
good
was
thing
like,
though.
he
That's
locked
right.
360 me, and he's like, well, you're not at Crossroads. You're in the car driving. Okay.
That's a good thing though. You weren't obsessed with it to the point you're freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to end with this verse. It's Psalms 119 and 37. Turn my eyes from worthless things and give me life through your word. So when we just think about anything that we're idolizing our time with, and maybe we don't even mean to, but I think social media is probably one of the biggest things right now. We've got to make sure what our priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so not just this isn't really just like a social media thing, but I think it more so like just being addicted to your phone, period. Like I've literally tried to put it in another room and see how long it takes me before I need it again. And you realize so much stuff is connected to it now. Like I've got my grocery list on there. I'll be going through the kitchen. Oh, we need some mustard. Let me go find my phone so that I can put in I need mustard. Just little things like that. They have took all of our calculator, and it's a flashlight, and it does so much, and they've put it in this one little box that, like we said, has become an idol, but it's so easy to do that. So one thing that I've tried to do is to take things like that. For instance, like the calendar. I do not use the calendar. I
Mhm.
keep my planner for that. That way I've
I
got
was
a
going to say, I know you're all about your planner.
Yeah,
right.
I
That's
like
what I'm
my
saying.
planner too.
Exactly. So, like that's something that I don't have to have my phone for. I can use my planner. And maybe just like breaking it apart like that, like thinking of all the things that you use your phone for and figuring out another way to do that. Does that make sense? Like
Oh,
if I have
yeah.
to go back to a paper copy
It makes
grocery list, I will. So that it
Yeah, it makes
doesn't
her.
keep.
I use the paper. I like the paper list better because I feel like it's more difficult to just keep turning my phone on while I'm shopping because the lock screen's gonna come back on.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like extracting all of the things that I use my phone for and going back to the old fashioned way of doing those. That way, the only reason I need to be picking up my phone is to either be texting or calling somebody, or Facebook obviously doesn't have a way to extract that. But but those being the only reasons that I use my phone and not using it for the 50 other things that can be used for. Because I feel like a lot of that screen time, like that percentage that you've been on your phone, a lot of that maybe is coming from like how long you listen to music
Or
or how long you watched a video
or
or
it, like I mean, it even racks up. Like if you just click it to like see what time it is.
exactly. Okay,
Like if
there
You
you
know
goes
just
2
what?
turn
seconds.
it and it
Yeah,
lights up, that's gonna add up to your screen time.
Do y'all
exactly.
know what I
So
just thought of? I just thought of, listen, as a wife and a mother, you need to get off social media and Facebook, but follow us on Facebook and listen to us on a podcast.
no, right.
Yeah.
No, but there's so many good things too. That like
Oh, I
keeping
know.
up with like ladies' days events and stuff.
Mm.
Like, how would we know all the things that are going on? This
Oh, I
look,
wouldn't, yeah.
Facebook is really our news now. Like, I don't watch the news because I've already saw it on Facebook. What something
Yeah.
happened. The president
Oh,
was
yeah.
almost assassinated again. I saw it on Facebook. I didn't see it on the news.
Yeah.
So, um, there's just different things you have to think about.
And
The
I,
different ways we use it.
and I guess I just want to like go back over like those points that we talked about. That it said the numbers that we did, the downfalls of a Christian in social media. There's a lot of good things because of social media, but just as like we're talking about, like as the topic is a wife and a mother, you have to put stuff in perspective. And I want to read this again, this verse that Psalms 90 and verse 12 teach us to number our days that we may apply our heart to wisdom. We just have to ask God to help me as a wife, as a mother, as an influence on anybody, to help me make sure I'm using my time correctly.
Mhm.
So okay, y'all got anything else?
I don't think
That
so.
it? Okay. So, Meleah, do you have one thing you want to share about something that helps your family?
Well, so we try to do as little screen time as possible, just because I feel like our children behave better
Oh yeah.
when we don't have screens going all the time. We can definitely tell a difference. Like if Charlie has weeks where we're at the hospital a lot, then like that's of course our screen time goes way up for them. But so one thing that our family does a lot of is we just listen to like Praise and Harmony, or there's a group that we like called Caleb and Kelsey, and they do a bunch of like covers of songs. And so we just keep music playing throughout the day.
Yeah,
So
that's good. That's like, I noticed I tried when I was trying to get the kids up so early. It'd been last year when we were trying, or the year before, I don't know. And that's like why I based my tip off of was I play happy music in the mornings because like when we're waking up super early and we're trying to get everybody happy, trying to get like that upbeat, I had tried to, okay, if you get your clothes on, I'll let you watch 30 minutes of something, of I don't know, turn on PBS or something. And that did not start their day off good. It just something about that just did not work. And that's another, like, if we're talking about just screen time in general, it's not good. So,
yeah.
I
Well, what
read
kind
the.
of
I
what
was gonna say.
sorry,
Go
Jen.
ahead. Go ahead. You go.
What we started like basing that off of was on Sundays, we don't do screen time. Like there's
yeah.
TV's not gonna be turned on, like
Yep.
phones aren't really flipped over or anything because we're trying to prepare our minds for worship. And we noticed that like our mornings ran so much smoother
Yeah.
when there was like no added distractions. Like the
Yeah.
kids know it's Sunday. We're not doing any kind of TV. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
so I feel
I
like
agree. Good
that
tip.
made life easier when we knew that they weren't going to be getting up and like trying to turn on the TV.
Yeah.
Mhm. And we don't do screens when we go out to eat. We don't or nothing like that because also kids and us need to know how to be bored. We need to
Yeah.
know how to talk and stuff
Yeah.
instead of just be entertained. So there's a good what I was going to say is there's a good book called I think it's called Glow Kids. I'm not sure who wrote it, but it talks about like how screens can rewire the brain.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I mean, it could easily, like you said, be called Glow Adults because we're looking at it too. So
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that really encouraged us was Charlie goes to clinics, and that's going to be where we see all of his doctors in one day. So that's a long day. We're usually there from about 7:45 in the morning until about 5 in the evening.
Mm.
And while we do take his tablet, he only gets his tablet at doctor's appointments, or like he gets it when he goes hunting with my dad because he's got to be quiet.
Grandparents.
Well, he's got to be quiet in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Charlie, that is not his strong point.
Funny.
But one of the doctors came in, and Charlie, we learned the very difficult way how long these appointments were, and we were very, very underprepared our first one. And so now I have like magnet blocks and colors, like we take a pack of colors and we color on the little white table. But I'll never forget one of the doctors walking in, and he was like, "This is the first child that I have seen today that doesn't have a tablet, like
Mhm.
just
That's so
attached."
sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so now we're just like we are going to exasperate all those toys before we're going to get
Yeah.
Mhm.
out something
Right.
like that. So
Okay, I want to say these few little things. So set boundaries of time limits for yourself. Don't ever neglect your spouse or your child because you're on your phone. You'll never get this time back. And you pray about it that you'll use your time wisely. Okay, friends, we're going to close it out. We will talk to you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.